Because I remember in episode 1, the title of episode 1 is Designed to be Creative.
Yes.
So that means we are actually made to be creative.
Yes.
So how did we then get to the point where people have to be convinced that they are creative?
Ziika, that's a very interesting question. You know, we asked that to David.
Yeah.
So let's listen to David's response, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how much time we got? This is a long story. So, I mean, here's what I think. So the researcher E. Paul Torrance was one of the, he's passed away now, but he was one of the original amazing researchers on creativity. And he studied creativity in adults and children as two different things. He developed several creativity tests that are still used in child psychology. He developed the ADA, the Adult Torrance Test of Creativity, which is still one of the premier assessments for judging whether or not a certain intervention has an effect on creativity. And what Paul Torrance said in all of his research is that when you look in most schools that are using a Western school system, right around fourth grade, the fourth year, so 10 years old, 9 to 11 years old, somewhere in there, the creativity of children just sort of plummets, right? And I think the reason is that we're well-meaning when we do it, we have a lot that we want to teach our children before they become adults. And the fastest way to do that is to teach them what the right answers are. And so pretty quickly, the act of learning switches from play and exploration and actively kind of observing also to this is the right answer, regurgitate it and get it back. I mean, do you remember right around fourth or fifth grade for me was when I was told I need to memorize my times tables, my multiplication tables, the grid of like 1 through 12 and 1 through 12 and you just... Well, okay, but if that's all the work that I'm doing, that's memorization and regurgitation. You're no longer exercising my creative muscle, right? And some people don't allow that to happen, right? Some people find solace in the arts, whether that's theater, whether that's writing. For me, it was English. And specifically creative writing. Some people find it in music, theater, etc. There are some people that find solace in those subjects, but I think it comes to that. The way that we bring people into adulthood now is very much you need to learn that these are the right answers, and we do that at the sake of teaching them on their creativity. And so they arrive, they come to college, it's even worse, right? Because now there are even more right answers and more subjects to learn, but eventually you narrow it down, you choose a major, you get your degree in something. If you're like me and you go on to graduate school, it's even narrower. And a doctorate is like knowing everything there is to know about an increasingly small segment of a particular issue. So it's an even more kind of narrow approach. All of that allows that creative muscle to sort of atrophy. And it's only the people that have resisted that. Unfortunately, what that turns into is adults who haven't used that muscle in so long, they assume it's not there. And they start telling themselves stories about why they didn't have a creative gene or they don't have a creative personality. But that's not the truth. The truth is they just fell out of practice. You know, how did we get here is a great way to ask that question. The other side of that question I get asked all the time is, well, can you really teach people to be creative? And the answer I tell them is no. You can just teach them to take all the junk that they've accumulated off of themselves and think the way they did when they were a child. I've never met an uncreative kindergartner, but I know a lot of uncreative 40-year-olds, and the only difference is whether or not you're practicing it every day.